Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, GURPS 4th edition basic sets. Still not a hardcover. No.
Okay, sorry. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Still no hardcover, though. Lancer, second printing and new cover.
Okay.
Actual play porn. Ooh, and Eldritch Automata on backer kits.
Okay.
So let's start with, and that's
we're not saving the porn for last.
Yeah,
time?
no,
Right.
we'll sneak it in there.
Okay.
That's from an interesting article on Rascal News. So I thought I'd bring it up and kind of plug them because they've got some good stuff going on.
Okay.
So let's start with GURPS and an ambulance.
Yep. GURPS 4th edition GURPS. Ambulance, right?
So 4th edition basic sets are headed to retail. And, well, we'll just talk over that. So Steve Jackson Games.
Have we mentioned it's like dangerously hot in Japan? That's probably another old person keeling over.
Right. It's someone that, can't control their body temperature anymore. And just...
Well, in this heat, who can? Sorry, right?
All right. So they're releasing 2 GURPS 4th edition basic sets. So I think the people have been frustrated. They've just been doing softcover books. They want a hardcover book, and now they're just getting basic sets. So there's 2 sets of the classic universal RPG system, and we'll see how you feel about
GURPS
this.
is pretty universal, so I'll agree. Yep,
you'll agree. And so August 7th, they're headed to retail. So how they're breaking up these sets is basically they're the basics for learning the game.
Okay.
The first set is basic set characters, so fundamentals of character creation and an overview of combat. So basically the thing for the players. And then basic set campaigns is how to create stories with various settings, and advice on how to make an interesting setting, developing the people, creatures, tech, and world for your game. So it sounds like the second one is aimed at GMs, but there's also useful information to kind of understand the system, like how different genres are different for players as well. So the basic set is $59.95, and the campaigns is $49.95. But and this all comes after Steve Jackson Games reported a pretty decent decline in sales. So they reported a 3.5 million as opposed to a 4.7 million the previous year. That was 2022. So for 2023, so a bit of a drop. But they say do not fear.
Well, I wonder. I haven't really been paying attention to Steve Jackson and GURPS games because I don't. It's whatever. I wonder what they put out in 2022.
Well, they said a little bit. Yeah, they're going to adjust kind of how they're doing, and a lot of that was from kind of real tepid responses to some crowdfunding campaigns. Yeah, so they went out. There was some crowdfunding that usually would do better, and they say no fear. We have plenty of runway left. We just hate to use it. they wrote. So they had some success with 6th edition Car Wars. So Car Wars 6th edition came out, but lackluster for the. Oh, no, they did do a hardcover. Lackluster for a hardcover release of GURPS. So people were wanting it and it didn't sell well. And also Fantasy Trip has not been selling well for them. So a little bit frustrated.
Fantasy Trip, is there just fantasy GURPS?
It's I think there is a GURPS Fantasy. It's got its own setting. It's kind of like a multi-dimensional kind of very interesting setting. Yeah, kind of riffs GURPS. But it's got its own thing, but it's also based on their Melee and Magic. They had like 2 little pocket games kind of style where you could play, basically tokens on a grid. So the combat system is very tokens on a grid kind of thing, so it kind of comes out of their pocket games.
What I was getting at is I wonder if sales of Fantasy Trip were just overshadowed by D&D 5e.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And I think it's when people are kind of going down the list of like Tunnels and Trolls and things, other kind of more old school options for D&D. I don't think
Fantasy Trip is probably low.
Yeah, Fantasy Trip doesn't probably come up until the very end. And they're also seeing things like they're talking about this, like many game options available. So now, for fantasy games, you've got so many different options. You've got stuff that's established, stuff that's new and has newer aesthetics and newer systems, and so this heightened competition has been hurting them. And of course, I think what everybody is talking about is distribution is more of a challenge now. Physical, materials and shipping costs and everything are pretty brutal.
I wonder if they do electronic versions.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting because they've got their Warehouse 23, I think, is their online store, and I don't think they do as much, because a lot of people are really into like having a digital version you can play, and I'm not even sure if they're supporting like VTTs as much. That might be a thing that is hurting Fantasy Trip as well, if they don't have like official VTT support. But they plan to turn things around, and I'm not sure I agree with this plan, but building sales of Munchkin. Okay.
I've actually never played Munchkin. I don't think I ever would. I understand seems like a pretty popular game, and seems like Steve Jackson's games, kind of like bread and butter. Go for it.
Right. Yeah, I like the cartoonist that these illustrator Kowalik is does. I like his style.
Cute.
Yeah. But yeah, they a lot.
Sorry, that sounds very pedantic.
Put a lot of IP stuff on there. But yes, they're going to be expanding their pipeline of new products and bringing in. Here we go. But this is going to do it.
Yep.
Bringing a multi-year secret project to fruition. So it still remains secret. So yeah, Steve Jackson's got something big coming up. So we'll see.
Some kind of Star Wars Munchkin. Or
Star Wars, Star Wars Munchkin.
Some kind of IP, yeah.
Yes. So now GURPS, because the hardcover did not sell well, they broke it up into two sets that you can buy separately. But, and also in an attempt to... introduce the system, I think, a bit more. And we tried so Lyle, Chris, and I just online Lyle ran a GURPS, kind of like a horror thing, and it works well. I mean, the system is really flexible. I didn't feel like, what are we doing now? Right. Because it was I think he was... kind of inspired by like a horror movie or something, and it started out very everyday, and all of the mechanics and all the rules and stuff it made sense. Like, it worked really well. Nothing stood out, or nothing was like we're kind of like making this system stretch to fit us, because we're just like sitting around a radio station with an old friend, and the signal goes out and like zombies start appearing, and I was like, this all makes sense, it feels good, and it works. Unfortunately, we only got a couple of sessions in, but that's my only experience with GURPS.
I played GURPS twice, but with a convention back in 2013, years ago.
Cool.
One was like a modern day espionage kind of thing, and one was the D&D cartoon. And so I thought both of them were good. I mean, it's kind of like any universal system. It's anything in that flavor.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, GURPS is fairly flavorless, so it's fun. It works. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder too if Steve Jackson, like their production quality and stuff, like people are kind of beyond, they want a little bit higher.
People in the chat were saying, let's hope they pay a layout artist.
Oh, yeah.
It's just right. Here's this kind of largely blank white page with 2-column text.
Right.
Could you maybe jazz this up a bit?
Yeah, I don't know if they see that as their identity, but yeah, they do need to step up, because even D&D and has looked like that at some time, and they have evolved. I mean, maybe a little bit too much. They're a little bit too
Steve Jackson games, a relic from the past, right?
But that might help a little bit, but we'll see.
The coelacanth of layout, right? The alligators or sharks of layout, because we haven't changed.
Right. All right, but another release, and this is a second print run. So Lancer is getting another print run of their hardcover, and this is all handled by Dark Horse Comics. So this means that their distribution is huge. I mean,
I hadn't realized that they were handled by Dark Horse Comics.
It probably rivals D&D as far as their reach, because Dark Horse is Embracer. Embracer group, so they probably have some. So the sci-fi RPG, mech RPG, is getting a second print run of the hardcover version. And the funny thing, I think Lancer has always been free. Like, the original rules were free, digitally free. So you customize your own mech, and you got hacking systems and overheating and taking control of your enemy bots, and also hitting them with big swords. But the thing that's notable about this second printing is Massif on their website is going to sell a new cover art, new cover design, specifically for the second printing, to kind of celebrate the popularity.
Okay, interesting.
So the original cover will be available at all of the Amazon, Penguin Random House, all the bookstores and comic shops and everything where you can find Lancer. But if you order through them exclusively, this new art on the cover, so an exclusive version of new artwork by Peyton Gee will be on the cover.
I'm not surprised, but I forget the guy's name, damn it. I came to Lancer through I know him as his online presence, Orbital Dropkick, the cartoonist who did the web comic of Kill 6 Billion Demons, which is a fantastic web comic, and I think that's put out physical versions through Image.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Which is why I was a little surprised to hear that Dark Horse. Anyway, the whole thing is like, I know this guy as both like a cartoonist / illustrator and TTRPG creator who also did Malagas 666, right? So I'm fine, whatever. I'm a little bit surprised that it's now someone else's artwork on the cover.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he's got like a pen name and a real name, so I'm not sure which one they're using.
I don't like.
It is. Yeah, it is a different artist.
It's a different artist, right? Which is fine, whatever. Okay, but like I kind of associate those two things together,
you're right,
like this art style with Lancer, right?
Yeah, here's the.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Peyton Gee's cover art looks bad, or it looks cool. It's just very different, and I kind of associate the two together.
And maybe to not be brand confusing and stuff, that's why the major retail stuff is still getting the previous cover with the creator's art. Yeah.
I'll come back. I'll comment later or something with that person's actual name because they deserve to have credit.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. So in the book, all the rules, the GM info, and enemies, and there've also been expansions for Lancer as well. Yeah. So they're really.
It's still like #1 forever on like itch.io, right?
Wow. Yeah. And Miguel said, is not a fan of the system. Like tried it out and is a BattleTech guy and not a fan.
Well, I think if you're a fan of BattleTech. This seems very BattleTech-y, and you were like, why would I do this if I could do BattleTech? Is my knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. I think I have a physical copy of Lancer back in the States. Haven't picked it up.
Your parents are playing it? No.
If they are, like, that would be pretty awesome, right? I think it's fairly crunchy.
Yeah. In the article they mentioned, if you're a D&D 4E inclined person, that you might enjoy, crunchy combat of Lancer. Yeah,
if you're not, it might not be for you.
Right. But we have other options.
Oh, I'm listening.
We'll talk about. All right. Okay, so let's plug a little Rascal News.
Yep, so, I'm all for porn. Okay.
Yes, ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
So, I thought this was an interesting article that really stood out, and kind of based on a tweet. There was a game designer that put out a tweet and basically said, actual play is to tabletop as porn is to sex.
I've seen this before, and I agree.
Yeah, right. It kind of works. It's kind of an apt metaphor. Yep. And so this is an article on Rascal News, or I think rascal.news. I'll put the link up. And the article was, but I don't have any money, actual play, and porn. I'm so sorry. This never happens at my home game. This is by Rowan Zioli. And basically reacting to the Grant Hewitt's tweet about with this metaphor. And it does. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's like giving people a false or like an artificial representation, because just like porn, most actual play is being done for the camera. It's voice actors looking their best, probably in costume. They've got ears on and they've got hats.
They've got their ears on, their hats on. Like there are people behind the scenes like directing stuff. There's people behind
so it's done for the camera, so it's not an accurate representation of like what actually happens around a table, but that's people's first experience of it. That's how they're being taught. So just like this younger generation is being taught very poorly about how to have sex, a lot of people are being taught in very strange ways, like the voices that are necessary. And
I'm looking at this analogy further. Like okay, here's my thought process. Porn is an industry, right? It's not any kind of one thing. Does porn present itself as what actually happens, or as kind of like a learning tool? And my mind went there because do TTRPG actual plays do the same thing, right? Are they presenting themselves as such, or have they kind of come to be seen as what actually happens and people's learning experience kind of through no fault of their own?
I don't think porn has ever had any educational intent. It's actually made to maybe give you a reason not to have sex.
Maybe, I don't know.
So I think but the metaphor, why they talk about the metaphor working, is that unrealistic performances of intimate experiences, and you're saying, tabletop especially early days, it had to be taught, this kind of this oral tradition had to be passed on from GM to GM from
because the rulebooks suck.
Yeah, right.
Some of them still do.
Right.
Steve Jackson games.
And so people are having that same experience with the porn industry, but unfortunately that's not. Yeah, it's anti-educational. I think it's actually showing because it's a product that needs to be enticing and needs to keep pushing limits and being more extreme, and we might see that with actual plays as well, where the budgets are going to get so insanely expensive.
Not extreme in like the same way, obviously, right? And depending on what you're playing, right? But I think because I've never really watched Critical Role. It's still the biggest, right? I've tried watching it. It sucks, right? Anyway, the first seasons when they were still back on Geek and Sundry or whatever, how much production value was there, right? It was probably just let's make sure everyone's in the shot, right? And now, the big actual plays, thinking about that Warhammer thing that still boils my goddamn blood, right? We're multiple camera angles, custom made sets and all this stuff, and yes, I think things are getting more extreme because, like people said in chat, it's entertainment first, and you have to keep giving people something to come.
Word choice?
Unintentional, but I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
You have to give reason of people to keep coming back to tune in, keep going, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to make it entertaining and make it kind of addictive, so you want to find out what happens to the characters. The narrative, kind of is foregrounded as opposed to learning a system or even world building. But so I think it's and the other interesting thing that they talk about is form, performance, and audience. Is the audio. So in the form and performance for both of these things, the audience desires this ever elusive authenticity, and so when people people watching actual, when it's too fake and you obviously they're not even playing a game, they're just reading us a story or whatever, people want something that feels like, oh, this is happening at a table, this is people playing a game. But there has been crossovers between the two. So two notable series. I Hit It With My Axe was a cast of adult performers.
I'm not even touching that one based on who's involved, but continue. Wait, okay. Oh, hey, K-Fog.
Hey, K-Fog.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, yes, I've heard of I Hit It With My Axe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was ever actually an AP.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was definitely a blog.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was kind of
recorded
set up for audience consumption.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway, what was the other one?
Yep. And the other one is Tabletopless, where porn stars and cam models are playing together. They're playing hardcore RPGs together, and occasionally one of the cam girls will get called away from the session to do a private call. So it's a little bit immersion breaking.
My Jesus Christ was not right. Anything related to the porn stars or cam girls, because hey, if that's where you found an audience, maybe that's fucking bank, right? That's what I'm gonna say. But my Jesus Christ was more of course there's a crossover there.
Yes,
and of course it's called Tabletopless.
Yes,
right?
And if you'd like to find it, you can go to the website criticalhole.com anyhow, but porn is always good with the puns, always good with the names.
It is.
Yes. So
sorry. Okay. There are other ones this is only me.
Oh.
I hate how crits and tits rhyme. I hate it because show us your crits. I'm like, drives me up the goddamn wall. Sorry. And most of it might just be mad, jealousy because I didn't come up with it first. But anyway, continue.
Right. Yeah. So based on a tweet talking about the fundamental misunderstanding of both mediums, about what they're showing you and how they are strictly entertainment or kind of useful. And I guess the utility is kind of for both, what you're talking about, learning a game system or finding out what it's like to run a game.
It's not really a consideration.
Yeah. But for actual plays, that's what people maybe look to it for and don't find it because that's it's made to be more entertainment. It's
I think that's right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think that the people who put out APs or who put out porn are intending it to be educational.
Right.
I think that's just for lack.
Well, no other sources.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Like, no other sources, or for lack of other better sources, right. That's where people go to learn, and that's where you run into the problems of unreal expectations about what happens. And I guess I'll stick to TTRPGs rather than porn, right?
Right.
But you're just like, that's where you get people wondering, like, okay, do I have to do voices? Do we have to wear costumes? We don't have the production values. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You don't actually need that stuff to run a game, but since for the large part of whatever APs large part of APs I've watched don't present tools or advice or ways to run the game, that's what newer people are taking away.
Yeah. No, I think that's true, and I think and that's where it becomes kind of misleading in the same way, like both genres.
I think that's what.
Is so people are I gotta go somewhere to find out what this is and how to do it. And choking is a lot of choking involved. No, not touching that actual place. Not an actual place,
right?
Yeah. So the article it's not the complete article for free on the website. So go to Rascal News, and for as little as $1, you can read the article, and then you can also support them by becoming a subscriber and getting more of this interesting. I mean, I love the fact that it's there. I mean, maybe this isn't a great example, but a lot of their content, it's not clickbaity. It's very like made. It's what they want to write about and the things that they are inspired by. So these writers are kind of given the freedom. They're not restricted by polygons, or dice breakers or anybody saying no. This is what sells. Write about this. Do this. And so there's a lot of really interesting writing, and so the article will go much more into kind of like the existence of the medium, and one thing that they end with is so perhaps we can find commonalities between these two fields, and in doing so better understand and support both of the art forms in an increasingly hostile digital and political landscape. So it does go into politics and basically the what the internet, what digital delivery has done to both of these mediums. So I'll put a link to that.
Damn it, I want my APs the way I want my porn on an old bootleg VHS cassette, right?
Right. And there's always a plumber involved, I'm sure. Okay, so anyhow, moving on. So this is if you're not a fan of Lancer, maybe this is an option. So this was really, it's an interesting combination of things. Okay. So I thought it'd be worth no porn. No, I'm sorry, it's not. But Eldritch Automata is currently on BackerKit. I think it's got a week left, so we're a little late to the party here. But the setting kind of starts as the arrival of the architect began a period of upheaval and chaos. We would see cities destroyed and countless lives lost in ensuing chaos. The world as we know it is gone from us, replaced by a terrifying new war of devastation and despair. But still, amidst the terror, hope remained for those who would seek it.
Okay, why are we just reading political stuff?
But this is basically a Lovecraftian mech game. So it's
Cthulhu tech?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. So Eldritch Automata is a dark and dangerous world, and there's a couple of compelling things. It's based on the Year Zero engine, so you're rolling D6 dice pools, inspired by Evangelion, Pacific Rim, and Escaflowne. As some of its kind of mech inspiration. I think the thing that they were going for is the stress and kind of like mental connection you have to the machine. And what you're fighting against actually is corrupting you. So things that we saw in like the Alien game using the Year Zero system has given us the
I like the Year Zero system, especially with Alien, for their like stress and panic mechanics.
So it's a blend of narrative gameplay, easy to learn mechanics, low barrier to entry, simple character creation, and so basically their philosophy was a low floor, high ceiling approach to gameplay. So interesting combat and a variety of complex approaches to it. So not just straightforward, you hit, I hit.
Right.
So I have things. So piloting the automata, the mechs in this game, is a constant source of stress and danger. So you have stress and stability that you need to maintain, And so year zero system. So you're doing D6 dice pools. Sixes are successes, and additional successes power stunts. So you can do additional wonderful things. And then of course you can push. And with a stress mechanic, pushing has that extra risk. So So there's 12 pilot architects and 12 automata architects archetypes that you can combine to make interesting. Find a play. To find a play style, and then additional gear and optimization. So you have stability, and you also have ego. So you fuel your automata special abilities using ego. So ego represents your consciousness and identity. So fueling directly into the automata's subconscious. So your ego works as a power source for your talents. And so be careful and manage your ego carefully, as depleting it completely causes yourself and your automata to enter a special berserk stage. So very Evangelion, in that kind of way, where you lose your mind, you lose that connection, you lose your separate identity, and things go badly.
Sure. Let's hope they kept the obligatory anime fan service out of the thing, right?
Yeah, the art for the book looks good. For the adventure, there's like a kind of an anime girl drawing in like a suit, in one of those pilot suits. But overall it's painted mechs fighting in a blighted landscape. So it looked good. I like the artwork. I was afraid of that because they're always trying to do this kind of not this fake anime look, and they didn't do that. So there is a quick start, and it's got an overview of the rules, 8 pre-gen characters for a one-shot scenario called The Dark Passenger. And so they're going into, or they want to have narrative storytelling and high-octane action, combining the two. And they give content warnings because it is Lovecraft, so it's going to be graphic violence, body horror, psychological horror. they don't mention racist, betrayal, suicide, things. Oh, I said the S word on YouTube. Great. Hopelessness.
Demonetized.
Yes, demonetized. And but there's also some fun stretch goals. So things that also brought it to my attention. So the combination of kind of eldritch horror and mechs, I think, is interesting, because there's a lot of great deforming, like the weapons. There's eldritch weapons as well, so kind of deformed, organic, strange things happening to the mechs as well.
Okay.
So it's a lot of interesting organic mechanical combinations of things, and the enemies you're facing are these horrific eldritch things.
D8.
But yes, so among the stretch goals are a alchemy enhanced edition. So they're already working with alchemy, so it's going to be playable on the VTT, and it's got gorgeous art, so it'll look really nice for those scenes, and a lot of expansions for adding new mechs and additional weapons, and just kind of expanding what they've already included in the base. As well as Eldritch Automata, Edge of the Apocalypse Wargame. So they're going to this is already unlocked, so they will be paying Chris Handley, a Warhammer writer and content creator, to work on wargame rules. So they'll produce STLs of the existing types, the horrors, automata, and seraphs, and will also have a set of wargaming rules to play in this world as well as an official soundtrack. So it looks like most things are unlocked. A special edition leatherette version. So this is Gahana Gaming, and they've done. They've got some good taste in games like Monster Hearts. They've done Monster Heart skins and stuff. So the designers there have some nice taste. And also another interesting thing which kind of surprised me is, and I think this might be unlocked as well, an actual play creator fund. So once they reach a certain level, they're going to set aside some money to spotlight amazing marginalized content creators with a goal of funding and bankrolling their actual plays of Eldritch Automata.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was a nice way to do something good with extra money, and not just say, you want another foil embellishment on the rulebook. So I mean,
it's advertising for them, so I mean, it's not completely altruistic.
Yes,
but
yes.
I mean, you said, we'll set aside a chunk of money specifically to focus on marginalized people who are going to run APs of our game. I like that.
Yeah. So that is good. Yes. So they're expecting a release by December 2024. So it must be mostly done, and a clear upfront roadmap in how they're going to go into 2025 with expanding things. Yeah. So they they're finalizing the manuscript and moving to the art and direction and editing. Cool. Yeah. Still, that's a little soon. Yeah. We'll see how they
maybe they write really fast.
Yes. Oh, actually, no. They're looking at it's next spring. Yeah.
Oh, next
spring.
Okay.
So I guess they're what are they shipping in December? So we'll hope to see a release. Maybe for just what they're doing digitally. But the final shipping will be March 2025. I don't think anyone has any illusions that you can actually deliver something before Chinese New Year.
Right.
So nice. But it looks fun, and I like. And they're kind of going all in. There's patches and T-shirts and pins, and they really want the different. Types of automata and everything. They're really going into the designing nice graphics and logos for them. So they want people to kind of get behind what they're doing. But a lot of fun. And I just thought it was an interesting combination. It seems like they made some good choices, like mechanically and aesthetically. So I wanted to give them some attention. So I'll put a link to that. Yeah, I'll put a link to that out there, and it might be worth giving it a try. I think with the the way that Year Zero can abstract stuff, it's not going to be super crunchy mech combat. So I think it might be kind of fun, and you could lose your mind. So that's always
a bonus.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, so that is going to do it for this week.
Yeah,
so
sweet.
Where can people find you?
I still almost said on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, sometimes Facebook, Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I haven't been doing a lot recently. Hopefully that'll change.
Right.
How about you?
And so upcoming will be what is that going to be? August, Abuse Cartoons. So you can read that cartoon and wait for the live stream. I'm doing monthly live streams now, and it'll show up on this channel. It's just to confuse and discourage people.
You said you talk about TTRPG stuff anyway.
Yes, I do occasionally. I do quite often, because Matt shows up. So yeah, we end up talking about what we're doing. So that's gocomics.com/domestic abuse, and look for Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch to find the archive of previous streams if you want to see me draw some of this stuff. And Dune, we're headed back to Dune tomorrow. Nice. So we'll continue the metaphor of actual play and pornography, where some sweaty men will talk to each other in a voice chat room. It'll be hot, man.
It could just be a sauna, right? Okay, yeah.
It's gonna be hot. All right. Anyhow, and if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters.
That's at patreon.com/upturntable, and let us know what you'd want to see more of. More mech news, more mech game news, or find out who is taking over digital control of Dungeons and Dragons at Wizards of the Coast.
Week,
Matt sent me a link to that, so it looks like their destiny is fixed. But yes. Upturn Table on all social media, and the website upturntable.com is where you can find links to all of our actual plays, lore videos, reviews, and unboxings, and all kinds of good stuff. So thanks for joining us, and we will be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.